Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your boy Roberto, and this is the DKN Show. Coming live and direct from the state and Missouri and the city of Kansas City, Missouri, home of the Chefs, or the Chiefs, whatever you like to call them. And they need to get on the ball because now they're 4-2, and the two losses are here in old Arrowhead. So if they think about going to the Super Bowl this year, they might want to get on the ball and not actually, mess it up. Anywho, tonight I'm going to talk about something that affects the United States and the United States only, unless you're like at a convent or something like that, and that is freedom of speech. It's been flying around for the last couple of years, especially with being Donald Trump's in office and everything, and it's taken on a whole new type of cockiness, I might add. So my thing is that when an American or Americans go overseas, does that still apply to them even though they're not in the United States of America? Now, I know a lot of these musicians and everything go overseas for tours, and they have to appease to their audience overseas because, they are buying records over there too, But if somebody was to go over there, say like, what's the dude's name? A$AP Rocky, who is being detained in Germany right now for having a fight from a few months back. And he's, online saying that he's being held in places where they wouldn't even put my dog and all this other type of stuff. And he wants his freedom of rights to all that type of stuff, yada, 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 yada. But I'm thinking that the people that's holding him right now could give a care less. We're just so much loved over here by the foreign, nations in Europe and stuff. They all just love Americans. And they make it very known that they really love us by, putting us in places where Americans are not actually very used to being around. And they try to throw that freedom of speech, and it's like, well, you're not in the United States anymore, buddy. So we could give a care less what your freedom of speech is. So, and they get the whole Geneva Convention and the whole love thy neighbor and stuff like that. But again, since Mr. Trump has been in office, some of our allies are looking at us a little bit differently than they did 2 years ago, or even 3. And rightfully so, because our president has put off the deep end these last couple of years. And, it's just how politics goes. I have, myself, I love my freedom. I do. I love living in this, great nation of ours and the melting pot of the entire world. And everything keeps an eye on us because we are the only country that I know of that is actually free to do whatever. And sometimes it can backfire. It could blow up in your face. And people will take advantage of that because, yes, this is a freedom of speech type of, country. But think about it as though it's been kind of a creepy type of thing because Colin Kaepernick being one of the biggest ones that I can think of, they use his rights of speech, or freedom of speech, as a advocate for, police brutality, which we have seen a couple of times in the last couple of months, with the killing of Monjan Jean and the other lady that's in Fort Worth, Texas. And he protested quietly by taking a knee. But you think, by talking to some of the people that watch football, especially NFL football, he'd went out and shot a whole bunch of people and told him to go kiss his ass or something. Didn't do any of that. He was exercising his freedom of speech. Even though he didn't speak or anything, but he did something. And because of that, he hasn't played football in 3 years. So, depending on the person that you ask or the person you say this to, is the answer that you'll get for that. Which some people will say, well, yeah, he was exercising his right to freedom of speech, and he was protesting something that is happening every day. We just don't know it. And most people don't give a damn. Well, on the other hand, somebody will come up and it's like when these flag welding people that, just up and down think he did it because of the United States, which is a wrong, by the way. And they will say that he was stomping on the United States flag and, disrespecting the soldiers of the United States of America. And even soldiers, Marines, Army, Navy, whatever, have said that he has every right to do what he did. He was not there like with a big old sign and said, hey, look at me, I'm protesting. No, he just took a knee. But I guess that didn't go over very well. And the NFL pretty much just wrote him off. Now, I've heard a lot of people saying, well, he had a chance to do this. He had a chance to sign another team, another contract, and all that type of stuff. But the fact of the matter is that, yeah, he did. But he still got kicked out the NFL, or blackballed, as I called it, because he exercised his freedom of speech. It's a very tricky thing about freedom of speeches. Either you could use it to make people aware of what's going on around them and everything else, and you can speak your mind without being, hung by the Gestapo or anything. But on the other hand, if you say something that even the United States does not like, they'll let you know that without actually, blowing up your constitutional rights. And Colin Kaepernick, like I said, knows that all too well. So, when I get online on Facebook especially, and I see all these political fights on there, and they're talking about, well, this happened, they're defending Trump or hating Trump or whatever. It's all freedom of speech. But some people get really bit out of shape about that, And it's like, okay, well, it's your right to hate it, but it's his right to say it. So who's right, who's wrong, who's doing what badly? It really doesn't matter. Because when it comes down to it, that's what the country is built on, the freedom of speech. Now, once you walk out the borders of this country and you go overseas or go someplace else where there's no constitutional rights and no freedom of speeches or anything else for that matter, does that still apply to the person that's from here? Or do they say, okay, you got a right to speak, but also have a right to take this machete out and chop your head off? That's the law here. You're not in the United States anymore. I actually had a guy tell me that once when I was in Mexico, a long time ago. He tells me that, I asked him, I said, so do you guys have any kind of like freedoms down here? Like, like freedom of speech or talking or whatever? He's like, oh, no, senor, no, we don't. I was like, really? He's like, see? I was like, well, what do you have freedom to do anything? Oh, no. We go out to play the crops and we do this, we do that. And we say anything stupid, we likely get our head chopped off by the cartels and stuff like that. So, when people say, well, I got a freedom of speech, I can say what I want to. Okay, that's good. That's great. Just don't go overseas saying that, because somebody will hit you with their car or beat you up or throw you around or make fun of you in their own language and stuff like that. Because quiet is kept, and I don't know if you noticed or not, Americans are not really liked very much around the world. Probably because we do have these freedoms of speeches and languages and stuff like that. And people tend to hate stuff like that. So when you go overseas and they say, oh, great, it's an American, great, awesome, bit of freedom of speech, they hate that. Just like, okay, don't bring that here. Okay, we don't care. All right, we're France. We don't give a damn about the American freedom of speech rule. Or Germany, or Russia, or England. I love England. It's a beautiful country. But I would not go over there saying, hey, I got a constitutional right to act like a complete jackass in your country. No, you don't. Because they have the rights to put you in a jail in their country and be done with it. That's their right. So, anytime a person, an American, goes out of the country, especially in the military, they're representing the country that you're coming from. So if you act like a complete ass to the state that's hosting you, because of your freedom of speech thing, well, yeah, they will tell you you can shove up your ass. Seriously. It's great here. You can say that all day long here. I can go outside right now and yell I have the freedom of speech to talk like a damn fool. And not a damn soul can say anything. They probably call the cops, but that's another story. But you do that in another country, and you shove that in their face, no matter what it's about or who's doing it or whatever, they will make you know that we don't give a damn. Because we don't give a damn about you. We will throw your ass in a jail or some kind of dungeon somewhere, and nobody will ever see your ass again. That's how it is overseas. So, when I hear these guys, and I know it's a beautiful country. It's the greatest country on. Some people say it's the greatest country on earth. Okay, but even I know not to go and rub it in somebody's face that I can have the freedom to do whatever I want to. And if that was the case, then, people will be able to do drugs or something like that, or drink like a fish, which I've seen that happen on both cases. Shoot somebody, nope, can't do that, because I guess against the law. Beat somebody down for his being a black person or something like that, I think it's still against the law. I don't know for sure, it's America. And so on and so on. So when I hear somebody on Facebook saying, well, I got a freedom of speech to say whatever the hell I want to. Okay, that's great. But you're on a computer on Facebook saying this. Now, there's a lot of Facebook and internet cowboys out there who think they can talk all kind of crap to you, and there's nothing you can do about it. But you cannot pay them one red dime to do that in person. It's called being a coward. If you can beat somebody up over the line, online, or whatever like that, then you ain't no better than the person you're doing this to. And that's my opinion on that one. But either way, freedom of speech is an American thing only. And if you go outside the country talking that, they will let you know that we don't give a rat's ass. Okay? I mean, we have allies and we have friends and supposedly of other countries and everything, and that's great. England being one of them. Like I said, I love England. England is, to me, is like is the most properest place I've ever seen, ever heard of. That kings and queens, for Christ's sake, come on. But you tell that to a redneck over here, and they're going to be like, well, who gives a rat's ass? They're a bunch of preppy some bitches. Okay, that's your right to say that. Just don't go to Buckingham Palace and say that to one of the guards there, because you're liable to get shot. You don't disrespect the Queen of England. You just don't do that. Don't respect the whole family, for that matter. But that's what this country has came to now. It's like, you can call me a black bastard, and it's your right to do that. Even though it's wrong as hell, but whatever. But on the other hand, I can say the same thing to you, and there'll be a problem with it. So it's kind of like, I have a freedom of speech, but just watch what you say, because we could beat you down for it. And it's kind of a double-edged sword type of thing. You can say it, but watch how you say it. You mean it, but you may not mean what you said. See, it's kind of like bad thing. Really bad thing. So to you, and ladies and gentlemen that are listening tonight, you do have the rights and the freedoms to speak all your mind and to do what you want and how you want to do it, have sex with whoever you want to, and all that type of stuff. But remember, once you leave the borders of the United States of America and go to another country and do that or say that, they have all rights to tell you to kiss their ass. And they will. I would think. For the DKN show, this is Robert from Kansas City. You guys have a nice night. Peace.